Hello. Uh, Welcome to the second day of the conference. I hope that you enjoyed the party last night and the karaoke that wasn't there. Uh, yeah, so welcome to my talk. And before we start, I would like to show you those two pretty images that shows one of them shows you a mythical creature that, if it was even real, would be able to change the world for a better place. And the other is a unicorn. Yeah, but seriously, how many of you had the luck to actually work under a good leader? Okay, so quite a lot of you. Like you, I didn't have this luxury for quite a long time, but we you know how easy can life become when you actually have a competent leader. But the question is, what does it even mean? How can we define a good leading person? And when I was preparing for this talk, I went looking for a proper definition, and there's actually a book exactly about leading in game development that was published this year. It is Great Games Need Great Leaders, uh, written and published by Matthew John Dyer, who was a seasoned, like a decade or decade-long experience developer from Australia. And he makes a quite interesting statement that a good leader can be characterized by those three simple feats. It's integrity, humility, and accountability, which means, going from the start, integrity is about being consistent with yourself. It's about living your values, being able to deliver what you say, but also, when something is not right, being able to oppose and fight for the team, for the good of your people, and for the project, of course. Then humility is about you, right? You are not a rock star. You are part of the bigger whole, part of the team, and you must acknowledge your limitations, your place in this structure. And then we have accountability, which means ownership. You have your responsibility that is your own, and you acknowledge it, as well as you acknowledge and communicate your mistakes and failings. Pretty simple, and it would be great to be told exactly this 8 years ago when I was starting to become the leader for the first time. So I wouldn't spend so much time and pain discovering it myself. Yeah, but a practical example is like, let's imagine that your studio was working on a game for a few years. It was released, and it wasn't a success, okay? Let's say the expectations were higher, so now the studio needs to sign another publishing deal, so you are working hard on a new prototype, new vertical slice to get the publishing deal soon, so the studio won't collapse. Let's say you'll be working on this for a couple of months, and you hoped that at this point of time you will already have a playable prototype, solid game vision, core mechanics defined and tested in prototypes. And none of this happened because for the last, let's say, 3-4 months, you've been working on facial animations and other cool VFXs from the asset store because the project owner went kind of crazy about it, okay? Not a perfect situation, so you keep communicating it, and the response is, okay, we'll get time for this later. Now, let's do it, trust me. So you trust your leader or your boss. A couple of months later, the situation is feeling kind of dangerous. The money is depleting, and there's no publisher, and the project is not in a very good state, so emergency meeting is being announced, and this question resounds. Wait, so there's no game to be released in 6 months? What the hell were you doing for the last year? You go back to the team, communicate the news, and sadly, the only response is this. Because your people know what it means. It means crunch time. And I would be extremely happy to say it's a theoretical example that never happened, but it's not the truth. This example shows us a leader who lacked the humility to admit that his word isn't the final say, that you might actually be right about those delays. A leader who lacked the integrity to keep up on the promise that, you will be given the time for pre-production later. If it is not possible, this leader also lacked accountability required to find any other option to resolve this problem without forcing you to crunch, without delegating the responsibility of his own mistakes on you. The problem is that most of the leaders in the entire industry lack any experience and education in leadership. We are expected to lead teams without having the competence given in the first time. And there's nothing easy about leading, right? It's about being brave, about challenging problems. It's making decisions under pressure, often decisions that outdo your competences. And you must do it wisely, because the consequences are heavy. So I think it's not a controversy if I say that mistakes made by leaders caused by their lack of experience and knowledge are actually causing damage and pain to both the developers and the projects and the entire industry. So for those of you who are maybe considering to take the role of a leadership for the first time, for those who've been promoted, if you are wondering, right, am I ready? Am I good enough to lead people? The answer is simple, you are not. You can't prepare for this, and so I couldn't, and yeah. Anyway, it is a skill that you can actually learn, like programming languages, like assets pipelines, like design skills. It's something that you can learn. Definitely, it's not about talent, it's about hard work, and I hope that sharing my experience will help you a bit, so you won't have to make all those mistakes yourself. Okay, so a few words about myself. I'm Bartosz Idzikowski. I'm lead level designer at Drakkar Games. Previously, I had an episode at Ironman Creations in the same position, but also before I spent a decade working at Black Eye Games, Black Games twice. It's not a mistake. I worked for a decade on a crazy project, MMORPG Gloria Victis, and I've been in different positions over the time at this studio. Out of my 11 years of experience in the industry, 8 of those years are leadership experience, and based on this, I would like to invite you to this kind of autobiographic talk. I got promoted from a specialist to lead. Now what? I guess that we all know what it's like to work without a leader or with a bad one. Whatever problems you experience, there's nobody to listen to your concerns. Morale is getting low. You as the team are overworked, but also under-delivering the stuff. Of course, you are crunching, and the rotation starts to increase because people are not willing to contribute themselves so much. At some point, probably you are also leaving the studio, considering what I was doing here for so long in this toxic place. And once this situation happens, there are ways to solve the situation, right? The studio management can think that, okay, we can hire someone to lead the team from the outside. Someone who will bring a fresh perspective, let's say new quality, and fit the team, right? Build the trust with the team. But the sad reality is that it's surprisingly small industry. We don't have many good leaders in there, and most of them are already hired. So what usually happens is, okay, maybe we can promote someone. You keep wondering, okay, but who? Nobody has the competences to lead. The senior guy, he's not an introvert, right? You see? Okay. So, the pressure to get a leader to solve the problems before the entire studio sinks, drowns down, and everything breaks is high. With every month of delays and problems and communication issues, the pressure is higher, so the bar gets lower and lower. So the second option becomes much more of a tempting choice. Even if there's no leadership competences in the team, it's still better than none, okay? So yeah, that's how I got promoted 8 years ago at 16 in Drakkar Games to become the design lead. A battle promotion. Yeah. Not that my boss had much of choice back then. Yeah, at this time, when we just released Gloria Victis on early access, we're a team of 7 people. So me being the only designer in the team, you can guess that I was a bit overworked. So the solution was to expand the team, but it means that, okay, we need a design lead. So I got this title that I never really wanted, and a salary raise, which was a bit better. And I had no clue what I'm going to do, which is, from what I see, a pretty common thing to happen still to this day in the industry. I wasn't aware of all the challenges that I'm going to face quite soon, such as, having much more responsibility and no longer being told what to do, because now I am the one who should think of what other people do under my command. That I was going to make so many difficult decisions in very short time, in most cases being not competent, not having the qualifications so to make those decisions. About making many mistakes that I had to acknowledge, think through, and use to improve myself. And about handling the pressure all the time, including time limitations that are pretty common in game development. But still, a year later, I had an entire design department under my command, which was 6 people of game designers, level designers, narrative designers as well. I felt quite confident at this point because, I proved myself as a game designer with a couple of years of experience with a release game. But learning design skills took me years, and becoming a lead had to be done within a month. So I didn't have this luxury of time to even attempt to prepare myself. Yeah, I hope to make no mistakes, but obviously I made a lot of them, and before I realized them and identified the core of the issue, my job felt pretty much like this. Yeah, I guess I learned it the hard way. Like many of my colleagues in the lead position still do to this day. So, yep. As a leader, I was now responsible for the entire team, and I was expected to, make sure that the teams know what to do, that the work will be delivered in good quality, in time, without crunch. If there are any risks, that I will identify them and communicate and execute a plan to solve it, and that I will work on keeping high morale. What I did instead was, out of anxiety, thinking back to my specialist task, my own assignments, because this was something that gave me much more self-confidence, I'd say. Yeah, but of course, justified it. We are a small team. I'm the most experienced designer, so maybe it's okay that I'll do those tasks instead of focusing on the lead thing. Maybe I am working too much, like 70 hours a week, but okay, we are a small team. We are development focused and we deliver quickly. What a terrible example it is for a leader to, crunch 70 hours a week. You don't have to tell your people that they should do it as well. They will do it because you are giving them example. But back at this time, I was thinking, okay, I'm never demanding more from my people than from myself. Yeah, awesome. One day you wake up kind of broken, feeling uneasy, and it is like this. Yeah, that's me, 2 years into leadership role, with depression, with a burnout syndrome, and a strong desire to change my job ASAP and never lead a damn team again in my life. But what happened was my boss Jan, who made an amazing thing that changed my life, which was delegating most of my duties over all the features in the game down to feature owners. Pretty easy solution, but it actually gave me space to rethink what went wrong, face the guilt, let's say, and adapt and try to improve. And from this moment, I just started understanding what I'm doing and what I'm expected to do. And yeah, it's quite a lot to say about expectations. But first of all, because I could delegate, I also stopped accumulating power, which then I realized was a really bad thing. Accumulating power as a leader kills creativity in your team. And that's what happened in my team as well. I was the most experienced one. I knew better, so my solution was always better. No, don't do that ever. Unless you want your team to change the job as soon as the game is released, don't do that. Okay, coming back to mistakes. I can narrow them to 3 main areas that are pretty frequent out there to this day. Not in my case, but colleagues around me in leadership positions. And those 3 main areas are, 1, making bad decisions or not making them at all, applying wrong priorities to your work, and taking too much on your shoulders and not managing the pressure, the stress adequately. Okay, let's take a closer look at those mistakes and discuss them. About meeting expectations. Finally, 3 years into being a leader. First, making decisions. It's a big part of being a leader. You are expected to make decisions all the time, and in most cases they are unavoidable and pretty difficult, often beyond your expertise, but also urgent. You are going to make them under pressure with a very limited time, and very often it will be you'll be facing those decisions without any prior warning. So get ready for the ambush, let's say. And if you are making bad decisions, you will have to face the consequences. It gets pretty stressful. And when I started to lead a team, I had very strong issues with stress management. I couldn't handle this pressure well. So I kind of struggled with making decisions. It was easier to go back into my own assignments instead of making decisions. I also know some leaders who overreact and rush their decisions emotionally because a bad decision is better than none. I don't agree. Rash decisions cause damage, and damage is an expense that we are going to pay later. So which stand is better? None. We always should aim for thought out decisions that are meeting the constraints, the requirements, and the objectives. But this comes with experience and requires, some confidence and a good decision-making process, which is something you are going to learn and practice. And mine took me a few years to nail it down, but now it's my best tool in my toolset. It was borrowed from the SAS, from Special Forces, from a book about leadership techniques written by a group of ex-servicemen. And this process is pretty simple, but extremely effective if you actually work on it. It is, step 1, breathe. Stop for a moment, calm down, and think about the problem. Identify all the issues that you are going to solve. Step 2, recalibrate. You are going to recognize all the possible options that you have on the table, on the constraints and objectives and expectations, and then actually deliver. Step 3 is create the plan that is deliverable within the given time with the resources that you have, and focus on delivering it to get the best effect of your effort. It is pretty simple, but if you treat it like a, let's say, workout routine, repeat it like a mantra, it can actually give you a lot of benefits. So whenever you are going to make a decision, think about your decision-making process. And the book title is SAS, Who Dares Wins, Leadership Secrets from Special Forces. Of course, we are not soldiers, right? We are not making war, but games. We're game developers, but difficult situations can happen also in our industry. So, for example, back in 2020, still at Drakkar Games, we had a side project that struggled. It was in development hell for a year, and I became a project leader to recover it from development hell, or at least try, or otherwise we would kill the project. Identifying the issue was the easy part. The team was made of juniors without any experienced lead or any experienced producer who would keep it on track. So when I joined the team, I didn't do nothing for the first week. I focused on identifying all the issues that are in the team, and I came to the conclusion that the morale is already low and the team is unorganized. But the most important issue was two issues actually. First was the feature creep, because the team was inexperienced. They couldn't realize the budget limitations and fit all the features in the scope. So, of course, everything that was being done was delayed or under-delivered. Then also internal conflicts within the team. We had an extremely, let's say, arrogant and dominant designer in the team who actually dominated the entire communication in this team, pushing everybody else back. So what were my options, right? Recalibrating and looking for the possible outcomes. First was to kill the project ASAP. This was not the best solution, so let's skip it. Going autocratic, right? Taking the iron fist role on the project, which would most likely kill the creativity, no matter that I had competences or not. But as soon as the game is released, the people will leave. But we really wanted to create a second team and diversify our income this way. So also not. And then solving the conflicts. Either the soft way, like working on releasing all the tensions and improving communication, or the hard way, removing bad apples from the pool. And this is the option that I went for. I felt terrible about it because I hate firing people, I guess, like everybody else. And this was the first time when I fired someone, but objectively speaking, this was the best possible decision, and it proved well. The project was eventually released and signed with a publisher on very good terms, and this allowed the studio to survive fully independently for a couple of more years. So I guess it was a good decision. What also happened was that one of other designers came out from the shadow of this dominant guy and took over ownership on the game's design, which was amazing. There was initiative, but it had to be listened to. So, making decision is a process that you have to work on it, like your daily routine. You must make decisions in the given time without the constraints that you have, but don't rush them. Don't take them out of your emotions, because emotions are not the best advisor. And as a leader, you are pretty often expected to use your experience and competences to remain calm when everybody starts panicking. Okay, let's move to the other part, the other mistakes area, let's say. It is evaluating your priorities. Once you become a leader, it's no longer about you delivering quality work, at least not in the first place. What you are expected to is to lead the team, to make sure that the team knows what to do, that they are given the means, the tools required to do their work and do it in the best possible quality, also keeping high morale. The team, not you, okay? So what's actually expected from a leader after the promotion is to be, first, a good leader, to work on the morale, solve conflicts, create a healthy atmosphere, and get the work done. But also a good mentor, because it is extremely rare to work in super experienced team only with, let's say, with no juniors, with no, let's say, with no regulars in the team. So every growth opportunity that you provide is actually beneficial to the team and you in future. And also, you should still remain a good expert, because if you are going to lead a team of specialists, you should kind of know what are they doing, right? To excel in all those three is extremely rare, like the unicorn from the first slide. But it's a goal that we all should aim for. Yeah, but in effect, you can imagine that your routine on day-to-day tasks will change a bit. If, as a specialist, you are spending like 80-90% of time working on your assignments, as a leader, it's like 50% at best. Because first of most, you are expected to focus on the team, on solving the problems, on taking on conflicts, even if they are exceeding your competence, because some problems have had to be taken care of ASAP. Some are pretty urgent and unannounced, like hardware issues on the launch day happens all the time. You must react, because otherwise your team will be prone to burnout and won't be able to work effectively. You are responsible for maintaining clear and effective communication within the team, but also all around the studio with other departments. Both positive and negative ones, like if the priorities have changed and your team should pause all the stuff they are working on and get on this super important, super duper thing. First, confirm it twice that it actually is the priority now, but if it is, go to the team, communicate it, and make sure it's executed. It doesn't happen that often without help of a lead. If, for example, the team isn't invited to the celebration party because they were crashing to deliver this milestone and now they're resting, so they wasn't in the meeting where the party was announced, also go to them and communicate, make sure that they know about it. And at this point, you might wonder, is this really my job to do? Shouldn't someone else take care of, like HR? Probably yes, and it won't happen, so you are going to do it anyway. Speaking about it, you are going to work on morale, keep it high. If the situation gets tough, like for example, the deadline is approaching quickly, or one of your team members is stuck with a task coming to a dead end, offer your help, find the time to think it through, offer some actually smart solution, help them as much as you can, let them know they are not alone with this problem. You are also responsible for stimulating the growth of your employees. By just the fact that you are assigning the tasks to them, you can stimulate the growth. Give them assignments that they are enjoying working on and improving their competences. It's a process that you have to be methodical about, repeat it frequently. It can be done pretty quickly, like a couple of minutes per employee per week, but you have to be methodical. Talking about planning the work together, it is important that the team is involved in the planning process, that they are also involved in estimating their tasks, that they feel the ownership of their assignments. Then, speaking about tasks, you are also going to supervise them, to review the tasks, to deliver feedback. And it's extremely important to find enough time for this, because otherwise you are either losing details or getting stressed, and this communicates bad to the team. So find the time and deliver feedback frequently, so people know if what they are doing is okay. And then at the very end, in the last place, you get back to your hands-on work on your own assignments, because to remain an expert, you must actively use your design skills or programming skills, whatever. Don't get them rusty, right? Then, as a gratitude for your hard work, come some awesome rewards. If the team succeeds, it's the team's success. But if you fail as a team, it's your leader's failure. You are tanking all the problems for the team, and there are many of them. You are handling relationships between your team, other department, the studio management, listening to a long list of complaints. You are also probably having some complaints that you would like to share with the team, but you should never do this because it kills morale. So you are pretty alone with this. Kind of like being a psychologist for your team. Yep, sounds like pretty lot of pressure to handle on yourself. And it's just assuming that you are doing only what you are expected to do as a leader. The problem is, if you ever had a bad leader, you might have this ambition to do it better, to avoid any mistakes, to solve all the problems before they appear, before they actually happen. And First, it's not possible. Second, it burns you out. You won't be able to avoid any mistakes. It's not possible. You would have to do nothing, which is also not, let's say, suboptimal. You won't be able to save the team from any failures because you won't be able to notice every single detail. No matter how you would like to tank problems, there will be some that that you wouldn't be able to anticipate. And okay, actually, I tried to make this, and I always was on duty. I'm needed there. I can't have a day off. And yeah, one day I read an article about having vacations, that you start releasing stress and getting relaxed after 3 weeks of vacations in a row. From 16 to 21st, in 5 years, I didn't have a week-long vacation for 5 years. Which is kind of important because, working in constant stress is pretty usual for game development, but can also become a kind of addiction. Like when I got my priorities fixed and actually started delivering quality things with the team, it felt good, right? We are delivering at time. It meets the expectations. Okay, let's do it more and more and more. Addictions are bad. I don't recommend having addictions. Because after working with so many snafu situations and broken projects and high-risk territories, we can expect some bad symptoms to happen, like feeling exhausted emotionally, physically, having slowing of thoughts and reaction time in general, being indecisive, having issues with keeping concentration. I have it to this day. You can lose your initiative, but also start to procrastinate and preoccupy yourself with minor tasks. And in general, you will become a negative and cynic prick. Burnout. Nothing really new, but what kind of struck me through is that the same symptoms can be observed in combat stress reaction or combat fatigue syndrome. So there was this moment of realization, okay, I'm not fighting a war, I'm not defending my country, and I feel like shit. What's wrong with my life? So if you are going to take the lead on your team and hoping that you will be able to become so much better lead than the previous one or fix all the problems, be aware of your limitations, because there are some. Know your limits. Don't kill yourself with this process. Which is pretty important because you, as a leader, once you got enough experience and skills in leadership, have a way to change this industry, this workplace, to a much better place and help craft new developers, because they will be able to learn from someone experienced. But to make it, you must survive. Don't kill yourself. Okay, that's for your mental health, but also taking too much pressure on yourself can have bad impact on the team itself, because you might start being overprotective, tanking all the issues with sword and hand, with a shield from the front line. So every single problem that is happening behind you goes unaware. You are so busy helping your people, releasing the stress from them and, solving the problems. You are so busy that they get it. Daddy is busy, right? We can't interrupt them. An example from Ironberg Creations. When I joined the team as a lead level designer, there were a couple of conflicts to solve and issues to work on. The team didn't have a proper lead for a couple of years, and the acting lead was already extremely exhausted by this situation. It was a person who had some communication problems with the team, mostly because of the language barrier. He was the only non-Polish-speaking person, but also an introvert, and daily communication with the team and with other departments was pretty exhausting for this guy. Also, the team, as you can expect, was conflicted with other departments. So that was my priority from day one, to work on these communication issues with other departments, so our level design team could start working effectively, delivering tasks and push the process, which was also a bit complicated because we didn't have a clear level creation pipeline yet. So that was my priority. I think it was a good decision, but at the same time, I focused on it so much that I overlooked the problem that behind my back, I have a growing internal conflict in the team. There's cultural clash. There's a person who doesn't fit the team, but also is the most experienced designer. So a good thing to be aware of. Yeah, but it was a problem that was overlooked for quite a long time before my arrival. If I wasn't focused on being in the front line so much, I could possibly notice it a bit earlier and help fight the burnout syndromes more effectively. And one more thing to add about the mental health aspect. If you are being promoted from a team of people that you worked with for some time, don't expect that everybody will respect you as a leader and respect the decision to promote you. Some will feel that you are a bad fit. Some other will take it personally and state it out loud that they would be a better choice. Don't take it personal. Use it as a feedback of sort that you have to get into under the surface of emotions, and look for valid points that could actually, provoke people to dislike you as a leader. Maybe they are right, so maybe you can use it as a way to improve. Yep. Okay. So, as you can see, there's quite a lot of possibility to make a mistake as a leader, and it's kind of a process. So at some point you have to just adapt and get comfortable with making mistakes because they will happen. Yeah, lessons learned. Work on the decision-making process because it's your most important tool as a leader. Be sure that your priorities are set right, that you are focusing on what you are expected to do, and take care of your mental health because you are important. You must survive, and this requires taking care of yourself. Okay, we are coming to the end. So, if you would like to read more about this subject, of course there are many courses online, many books and materials, but those I would recommend personally. Great Games Need Great Leaders was released like 2 months ago, and it's pretty on spot on the topic. Hooders Wins from the ex-SIS members is okay. It's a military book, so don't get too attached too much to the concept, but it transfers well to business as well. Speaking about military, the autobiography of Major De Quinters can also be important because it's mostly about being a leader, giving an example about inspiring your men, your people. And then one book that has a terrible title, and I hate it so much, but at the same time, it's the most important book in my life, which changed me into a person who can communicate effectively without insulting people. It is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's almost 100 years old book, but it should be in the elementary school. Okay, so one final note. Don't be a prick. Thank you.